with Indiana State men's basketball coach Greg Lansing. Greg, first of all, we haven't talked about injuries much, and I know you guys have had several of them. Brandon obviously is the most obvious one, but kind of illustrate who's been out and kind of what ailments you're dealing with at this point.
Yeah, we lost Brandon early, obviously, and he's done for the year, and that's a big loss for us, a key contributor, probably going to be our sixth man, and be able to do a lot of things for us. And you feel bad for him because he put in just such a good off season. We lost Q, L'Aquarius Page, too. He broke his hand early in practice. He hasn't done anything with us yet. His x-rays were a little questionable today, so we're not sure when and he'll be back and how quick. Justin missed 3 days of practice. Kitch missed a couple days of practice with a day off in there and also missed the scrimmage. So we've had our bumps and bruises. It's been rare that we've had our entire group out there, but we actually did today, other than Brandon and Q. So hopefully that'll continue.
Have you had any issues with Alex too? I mean, or was that more early on?
Yeah, that was more early on. You know, he couldn't catch a break there for a while. He just kept having little things go wrong with him and getting hurt. But knock on wood, so far since we started official practice, he's been pretty good. You know, his conditioning isn't where it needs to be yet because he missed time before that.
Now, you know, Christian Smith made an interesting point. While it's probably disruptive, undoubtedly, to have guys missing, on the other hand, it creates some opportunities for some guys, you know, to, you know, maybe at least think they might have playing time or that their practice time might lead to playing time. You know, how do you kind of, I guess if you're the player who's getting the chance, that's probably the right way to approach it. But as a coach, you know, how disruptive has it been, and how are some of these guys doing when they have had increased, you know, time?
Yeah, it's a good point. Christian makes a good point because it does give other guys opportunities. It is next man in, and you want all those guys that have to stand there and watch most of the time to be ready. All of our guys need to be ready if we need them. As a coach, you probably are a little more frustrated than the players because maybe you don't look as good as you would look with one of your main guys out or a starter out or with a guy like Brandon Burnett out. So it might frustrate us a little bit, but we've been low on numbers, obviously, with guys being out. But it is those guys that don't get the minutes they usually do, you certainly need to take advantage of it.
Are we at the stage of practice now where, you know, you've been going for basically a month, and other than the scrimmage over the weekend, haven't really obviously had any games to kind of mark progress with? I know that it gets to be dog days a little bit for the players. You know, do they need a game? I mean, obviously they don't get to play until Sunday, but, you know, are they at that stage where they need to maybe show this against somebody else?
Oh, there's no question. And the scrimmage was just what we needed. We probably didn't play as well as we'd liked and did some things, but there was a lot of good things. Hopefully Sunday we show this whole week of practice that we continue to get better on a daily basis. You know, it is the dog days already. You know, you think of getting into February, you have the dog days of the season, but we have been practicing a month already. So for the guys, it's hard to get that motivation all the time with some of those new guys. Now, our veterans have been terrific and coming in with energy every day, but we've been learning, we've been getting better every day, and we still have a ways to go.
What can you reveal about the scrimmage? I mean, what you
Can't talk about it.
I know you can. I had to try.
A lot of good things, but you know, some of our Achilles heels have shown, and we need to get better in some places for sure. Things that I've already talked about. So.
Now, as far as Trey Bennett is concerned, you know, he's in a tough position. I mean, he's a new guy coming in as a JUCO, so he's expected to produce. On the other hand, you know, he's got to produce and he's got to learn. You know, talk about the approach with him and how he's responding to it so far.
Trey is a very good player for starters. When he's good, he's pretty good. He showed spurts of tremendous play, can make shots. He's super quick. He's the best passer we have, I would think, in the guard court. So he does a lot of nice things. Now, there's also a lot of things that he does that we really don't tolerate on the floor, and that's not misbehaving or doing anything like that. It's just not fulfilling his role. You know, he can't be the weak link for us on the defensive end and those types of things, and he can't turn the ball over. He is, you know, his feet are in the fire, and he's feeling a little bit. He's trying hard. He probably needs to try harder and stick with it harder. Fight a little harder, be a little tougher, be a little more competitive as a whole. He is for a while, but he's got to do that all the time.
The approach with him, and you can tell me if I'm wrong, but it does seem a little different. I mean, it seems like it's more obvious that he's got to be that guy, and it's being driven, both from the coaches and from his teammates, which is a bit unusual from what's seen in the past. I mean, how's he responding to that? And kind of talk about your approach with him. I mean, there's a logic to it. I mean, he plays a very important position.
Yeah, there's no question. I mean, I'm really hard on he and Brenton because they're going to run the point guard position along with Devontae, and it's a huge role for us. We have some pretty good players around these guys. They have to play the way this coaching staff wants them to play. Again, Trey's a really good defender, but he's got to be able to go down at the other end and really compete and stick his nose in there and finish plays and can't be the weak link there. Brenton, on the other hand, he's got to learn how I want him to play on the offensive end. He's always been a scorer, taking shots nonstop whenever he wants to. He's a very tough and competitive guy, but he's got to understand at kind of the opposite end of the spectrum as Trey, how I want him to play on offense.
It seems like the veteran teammates are being a bit more vocal than they have in the past. I've seen it at several of the practices I've been to, and personally, I think that's a good thing. But can you talk about maybe the leadership style that some of these guys have undertaken, and maybe a little different from some of the groups of the past?
It is. They've been great. Like I've said, Kitchell, Justin, Christian, and Devontae, they've all been unbelievable with how vocal they've been. I would like maybe some when I'm getting on one of those new guys, getting on Trey, that they need to pick them up instead of continue to pile on, so to speak. But they've been outstanding in their talk at both ends of the floor, off the floor as well, and the things that we're trying to do as a program, getting better in our meeting rooms, watching film. I couldn't be more pleased with those guys.
What should we expect out of the exhibition on Sunday against Trine? What do you expect? Obviously improvement, but
yeah.
What are some of the things you're looking for on Sunday?
I want us to play at a great pace, and I want us to play like it's the most important game of the year, and play like we play. I really want us to play fast on the offensive end and unselfish, and on the defensive end, we can't give up easy shots or second shots, and that's kind of been an Achilles heel at this point.
All right, Greg, I appreciate it.